Welcome to our wonderful new series of fantasy matchups as we face off some of the great sides in football history against each other. Who might win a blockbuster encounter between Manchester United and Manchester City's treble-winning sides over a single league season? What about Brazil's 2002 World Cup winners? Would they beat France's 2018 champions in a one-off World Cup final? Would Pep's Barcelona side blow away Arrigo Sacchi's AC Milan? Well, in this series, we are going to find out. What historical head-to-head excites you the most? Let us know your suggestions in the comments below. To kick things off in style, we are going to look at the Liverpool and Manchester City sides of Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola between the 2017 and 2022 seasons. Perhaps Europe's top two sides during that period. The Reds and the Sky Blues provided electric football week in and week out, and they even surpassed the Classico to become the must-watch game of the season over that period. Both managers are bursting with passion for the game, have strong identities within their style of play, and even have a history with each other from a prior spell in Germany. Liverpool and Man City of course need no introduction, as one of Europe's most successful clubs ever and the best team of the last couple of years respectively. Between 2017 and 2022, Manchester City won 4 out of a possible 5 Premier League titles and countless domestic trophies. In fact, the only thing that City didn't win in that period was the Champions League. Liverpool did, however, and they also managed to split City's successful seasons by winning a Premier League of their own, a first in 3 decades. Since then, the 2022-23 season saw Liverpool lull and Man City reach new heights, winning a historic treble, led by new superstar Erling Haaland. Albeit, Mo Salah still proved the protagonist as City fell at Anfield once again. But besides that, it was still the first season in a while where you saw a huge gap in the performance of the two sides. Liverpool completely dropped off as City kept up their unbelievable performance level. For the first time in a while, Liverpool didn't seem so scary, but the 5 previous years were completely different. Liverpool were on a high too. During the 5 seasons between 2017 and 2022, Liverpool and City played each other 10 times in the Premier League. Overall, City took 4 victories and LFC took 2. 4 games were drawn. The two sides also met in the Champions League in April 2018. LFC won both legs on their way to the final, knocking City out altogether. Man City won the 2019 Community Shield on penalties, and Liverpool beat City 3-2 in the FA Cup semi-final 2022 on their way to another trophy. In the overall period, City took 4 leagues and LFC won 1 league and 1 Champions League. In rather emphatic fashion, both clubs completely smashed Premier League records during this golden period of top-level football. The 4 greatest ever points hauls in history were set by City and Liverpool during this reign. In the 17-18 season, City became Centurions, reaching the 100-point mark on the last day of the season with a win away at Southampton to make history. 32 wins from 38 was a new top-flight record. They repeated that amount of wins the following year, as did Liverpool the year after that in 2020. And that was the year of Liverpool's total of 99 points. This stunning points haul won them their first league title since 1990, a league that was stopped in March because of the COVID pandemic, but it was already sewn up by the Reds, who rumped to the title. They had 25 more points than City after 29 games, and went on a record 18-win run that year. In between these 2 incredible seasons was perhaps the most exciting of them all, the 2018-19 season. City pipped Liverpool to the title by a single point, 98-97, and the same year Liverpool were crowned champions of Europe in Madrid. It was peak rivalry in the footballing sense, 2 teams of supreme quality with world-class managers. They went toe-to-toe from the start to the end of the season, and apart from when they played each other, they looked absolutely invincible, setting the playing standard that everyone across the world looked to. Sadly for the Reds, their top 4 point haul of all time, 97, wasn't enough to win the league that year. Pretty much any other year they would have wrapped it up with time to spare, But this LFC City era was special. The Reds also failed to win the title in 2022 with another impressive points haul of 92, yet again pipped by Man City. The pair were in a league of their own, and City's ability to win the title unparalleled. Where the Reds had some dips, City were more consistent, only really falling off the pace the year Liverpool ran away with the title. However, no matter the form table, the Reds were always City's most feared opponent, like when they knocked them out of the FA Cup and Champions League with super quick starts on the pitch leading to historic victories. In some big games like that, they seemed to be able to freeze Pep's City side. Some might say City were bottle jobs, clearly the best side over that period, but that they always managed to mess things up in the big games. For example, over that 5-year period, they were much fancied Champions League finalists, but lost to Chelsea. They also got knocked out by Tottenham, Lyon and Liverpool over those years. LFC's significantly smaller squad reached another 2 European Cup finals during that period, but lost both to Real Madrid, either side of their 6th title victory against Spurs in Madrid in 2019. If Liverpool had injuries in their side, cracks began to show. A stunning starting 11 was backed up by a timid bench, and in days of injuries and suspensions, points would be lost and form would dip. Whereas City's bench is, and has been for some years now, littered with superstars. They rarely had problems putting a world-class team on the pitch. Whilst the Reds had a star forward line and a defence bolstered by Van Dijk and Alisson, their midfield was never thought to be at the same level. City seemed to tremble a little under the Anfield atmosphere, but week in and week out they managed to shine and romp to title after title. Pep Guardiola himself was criticised for the European Cup final defeat to Chelsea, accused of overthinking and changing tactics when he shouldn't have. Perhaps the big occasion got to them. But who wins this one then? Well, for a little context, ahead of our new series of head-to-heads, let's lay out the rules. In football, there are leagues and there are cups. There are Premier Leagues and there are Champions Leagues, and they are both pretty coveted titles. So, with that in mind, we will always consider the head-to-head tie in 2 different ways. What if it was a league season, and what if it was a one-off cup final? Unlike in many future fantasy matchups that we will cover, these two have faced off against each other in the league, and City came out on top. We have concrete evidence in their favour. If you look at titles and points totals during the peak period of 2017 to 2020, City won 2 of 3 leagues and LFC just 1. Both clubs showed that they are the most consistent Premier League teams of all time, but the proof is in the pudding. Over the league season, City take it. Let's set another scene. It's the 2019 Champions League final, under the lights in Madrid. European kings Liverpool take on City, the new boys, the new kids on the block. A one-off game for European glory. Who takes this one? Though these two didn't face off in a European Cup final, the Reds stunned City over 2 legs in a blockbuster quarter-final tie. And in key one-off cup ties, they seem to have the edge. They also have European history on their side, and despite City's domestic dominance during the selected period, it was always Liverpool who went further in Europe. We think the Reds would take the title in this one, but what about you? A bit like the epic 2018-19 season, City would snatch the league and LFC would be kings of Europe. What do you think? Stay tuned for the next head-to-head matchup and let us know your thoughts in the comments below.